Hola, bon dia. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube channel and podcast. It's Friday, everybody. Not just Friday. It's Filomena Friday. So we have our Portuguese language clinic, our Q&A, and she brought a special guest along with her. Tony Robbins, everybody. Tony Robbins is here today. And we're going to do our news and weather very quickly. A quick shout out about last night's activities. Great evening yesterday. Kicked off with the webinar that was aimed at Brits wanting to get to Portugal before the Brexit deadline of the 31st of December. And the wonderful Gil de Pereira from aimigrant.pt was our guest in the webinar on the Portugal Calling webinar with Expats Portugal's community as well. Really good evening. Got straight down to it, point by point, what you need to do as a Brit to beat the deadline. And the first bit of advice is go for it, because it's really unclear. No one really knows what's going to happen next year. The only bit of information that seemed certain was that there was going to be no need for a visa for Brits visiting Portugal from 2021. But apart from that, all the Brexit stuff, and this may come as no surprise now, what a year we've had, is that it's very uncertain. So go ahead, if you're thinking of coming to Portugal, go ahead and follow. Really, it's like a 4-step plan. So check out that webinar that will be posted up on both the Good Morning Portugal and Expats Portugal YouTube channels soon, and also a podcast from me. Also last night, this thing of beauty came to our attention. Gary Austin, well done, Gary. Great job. This, excuse me. It's nothing to do with the wine and nothing to do with COVID. I've just got a little bit of a cough this morning. The Altano from the Symington Estates. 5 generations of wine producers up there in the Douro, and an organic to boot. And we loved it. Very high scores for this one. Probably the best one we've tasted, I would say. Certainly up there with the best of them anyway. So that was a great evening as well with the wine ninjas. I nearly called them the whingers, but the vingers, I suppose they could be called. The wine ninjas, the inner circle of the Good Morning Portugal wine club were gathered, and this was the wine we tasted and really appreciated. So, and I think you can get it all over the world because of the power of the Symington organization. They export and have been exporting port, certainly, and the rest of their wines all over the world, I think, for some decades now. So, yeah, great evening last night. So on to this morning and the weather, of course. The big news is that Portugal is under yellow weather alert. So let's tell you about that. Bring that onto the screen from the Portugal news this morning. Here we go. Portugal under yellow weather warning. I can tell you that in Lisbon at the moment, it's raining, 19 degrees, rising to 23, but rain for a couple of days. Porto, it is 25 will be the high today, but 6 days of rain forecast and currently 17, although sunny right now, so enjoy that while you can. Coimbra, 16 degrees and partly cloudy. Oh my goodness, in my part of the world, a good 5 days of rain to look forward to. Good for the garden. We need it on our happy homestead here. And Faro raining at the moment, 21 degrees and rising to 25. An escape from the rain. If you want to get away from the rain, maybe jump on a train or the wonderful Alpha Pendular train and sit it out in Faro for a few days. It will be raining today, but a lovely day forecast for tomorrow, and then a little bit cloudy. And then the sun is back in Faro on Tuesday. So back to this weather warning, the yellow weather warning. Mainland Portugal is on a Monday under yellow. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay, so this was published a couple of days ago. Mainland Portugal is on Monday under yellow warning due to the forecast of rough seas, heavy rain, wind or snowfall, according to the country's weather institute, IPMA. The 18 districts of the mainland are under yellow warning until 9 p.m. on Monday. Okay, so this goes through until next Monday. Due to the forecast of rainfall, sometimes strong and persistent, and IPMA also issued the same warning for the entire Portuguese coast, but because of rough seas, until noon on Tuesday. Also issued the yellow warning, did IPMA, in the districts of Bragança, Viseu, Guarda, Vila Real, Viana do Castelo Braga and Castelo Branco due to the forecast of snowfall. Good heavens, above 14 to 1,600 meters, gradually lowering the snow line to 800 to 1,000 meters. So skiing weather in Portugal. Yes, you can ski in Portugal, folks, as well, up there near Viseu, between 3 p.m. and on Monday and 3 a.m. on Tuesday. So the districts of Viseu, Évora, Guarda, Faro, Beja, Castelo Branco, Coimbra, and Porto Alegre are under yellow warning because of the strong wind with gusts. I love the word gusts. You only ever hear it in the papers, right, on the radio, up to 80 kilometers per hour between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Monday. So Monday sounds like the sort of epicenter of this weather system, and it has got a name, of course, Daniel, Depression Daniel. The yellow warning is the second least serious of the scale of 4 and is issued when the weather conditions represent a risk for certain activities. And I think last night when we were all online together, we did think that the weather was affecting our signals and our broadband, etc. The bad weather photo in Portugal mainland follows the passage of this depression I mentioned, Daniel. Unfortunate if you're called Daniel right now, right? Which is associated with a swell of the cold front surface that crossed the country. Given the scenario of heavy and persistent rainfall, the Civil Protection warned that special attention should be given to areas historically identified as vulnerable to flooding and in unregulated river basins with rapid flow. Also be careful because it brings the diesel up off the road as well, I'm told. So be careful, extra vigilance when you're driving. The authorities also warned of the possibility of branches or trees falling due to stronger wind and possible accidents on the coastline, and the parking of vehicles in these areas should be avoided. So there you go. That's the yellow weather warning. I want to go back to that very sad story that we spoke about yesterday, the little baby found in the Moses basket, and whose mother felt unable to look after the poor little fella and gave him up for adoption, left him on the church steps. A real sad sign of our times, as far as I'm concerned. And we felt the need to do something about it. I spoke to Natasha Don, actually, or emailed her yesterday, got a bit more background on that particular article, that situation. And this is unfolding for us. I feel the need for us to do something to address the kind of poverty that would prompt such a sad act, really. But then this is part of a bigger picture. Apparently from Espresso here, thankfully translated, last year 22 babies under the age of half a year were abandoned, one less than in 2018. And says J.N. Maria João Leuta, a researcher on children's rights at the Universidade Nova de Lisboa, we must not blame poverty, associate poverty with mistreatment. The responsibility for a child rests with the entire community, he says. In addition, he considers it urgent for the state to fulfill its function of protecting children at risk, because in Portugal, the legal mechanisms exist, but not the means to put them into practice. So apparently in 2018, of the 7,000 foster children, only 596 were referred for adoption, includes JN. So that is a sad situation. And Ty Johnson said, it's all very well talking about this. What are we going to do about it? A picture is forming. What I'm thinking of doing is that we, need to address, I think, poverty that leads to this on all levels. It's the system that's a problem. And good luck to us all taking on the system. But I think there is something we can do. This is forming. What I would like to do, I think, is make part of the income of Good Morning Portugal. It's crowdfunded, but I don't see why we shouldn't give some of the proceeds towards some of the most needy. As this is an expat community. We are in many ways better off than surely better off than the poorest people in the country. And I think it falls to us to perhaps make a contribution there. So that is forming. There will be a formula, and I'm open to your suggestions, and we need to find out a specific charity or organization that we can support. So there you go. We now turn our attention to the Portuguese language Q&A in the form of Filomena. It's Filomena Friday, everybody. Hey, Filomena, how are you?
Olá, bom dia.
Olá, bom dia.
And look, who's that? Tony Robbins is here, everybody. Hey, Tony. How are you today?
We are having a little of a sound problem here because for him to listen to, we connected his tablet, but the tablet is a bit slow. I don't know. So do you think we can go without the headphones, the earphones?
Yeah. Let's give it a go. So just if you just unplug and both use the same device. While you're doing that, I'll say a few hellos to people. Good morning, buenos dias, bonjour, guten morgen. My goodness, global attack of greetings here. Bon dia to all from Wiesbaden, Germany. It's finally Friday. Jim's ready for Friday. Bon dia from sunny Southampton. Your leftover rain should reach us on Sunday. Yes, you take our leftovers. Good morning. I'm a little bit tired this morning. Yes, we know why, Ferry. We heard that you had to be collected from the bar yesterday. Word gets round this community, you know. If you drink wine from the Douro, it does not necessarily have to be the amount of the Douro. Good tip. Good tip. Hello, bon dia from beautiful Timoth. Sad to have missed the wine. It was a good one, Sonny. Another time. You can get it in your British supermarkets. No ill effects this morning either. Well said, Gary. Brilliant job, Gary, last night. And yes, I think your inkling was right about organic not leaving you with a chemical residue. Sorry, Filomena and Tony. There's lots of people want to say hello this morning. Bon dia, Carl and Filomena. Stormy day in Penella, hunkering down and researching vibrant tiles for my renovation today, I think. Yes, very good. The azulejos, I hope, in keeping with the traditional.
Muito bem, Carl. Muito bem.
Thanks. I always feel great when I'm affirmed by you and my Portuguese skills. Bon dia. We had Portuguese pescador with our fish lunch yesterday in Brixham. A lovely white to go with oysters and mussels. Oh, that sounds good. My first trip out since March. So breaking the lockdown there, Penny, in the UK with a fine Portuguese white. Sunshine here again today, she says. Owen, whose starter screen we had, the rainbow inserter. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Owen. Massive thanks to Gary Austin and Filomena Pascoal. Postal service sorted. So you've helped other people here already before we've even started, Filomena.
Well, I've just given a little help yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
It was about the postal system, and we could talk about that. So any questions you've got that are to do with Portuguese language primarily, but obviously Portuguese culture, with which is integrally intertwined, do put them in the comments. Sunny up for the idea of drinking some Portuguese wine. Well, and why not? Are there opportunities for expats struggling to get to grips with the language to physically assist the charities? So we might bring something together there, Ty. That's got a kind of social aspect to it as well. Let's talk more about that on PM, but great idea. So yes, Filomena and Tony. What brings you here, Tony?
Experience of old adventure.
Brilliant.
Well, yeah, Tony has been a friend of mine for a long time, and Teresa also. I mean, Tony and Teresa Robbins, and so they are staying in my house for a week now because they still live in England, but they are moving into central Portugal.
Excellent.
But Tony is a fan of yours, and he would like to meet you, so he just came with me.
Awaken the giant within.
I love your books, Tony. I have to say they've made a big impact.
Yeah, and actually, Tony has got a few stories about when he first came to Portugal and about not knowing Portuguese very well.
Go on, Tony.
Okay, yeah. So like misconstruence of the language it's a lot of fun, and I love it. I love it. When we first arrived in Portugal, probably early 90s, and after being here for 6 months, I was here with my wife Teresa, me, and my brother David, and we decided to throw a mini festa for all our new friends in Portugal. So, me and my brother's girlfriend Sophia, Portuguese lady, we're greeting the guests as they come in, and I thought to be a good host, I'm supplying them with a glass of wine as they come in. And this one particular lady, after offering her the wine, said to me, "Oh, small." So I thought, small. Oh, small wine. So I tipped a bit out back into the bottle and offered her the glass. And then she went, no, small. I thought, oh, small. So I tipped her more into the glass and offered her a full glass. And she went, no, small. I thought, what is it, more or less? I'm getting confused. And Sophia, who was with me, like, you stupid English man, no, some more. It's an orange drink.
I know the one you mean.
Sumo is the Portuguese brand, but of course he didn't know that there was a brand called Sumo, and the lady just wanted an orange juice, you know. So,
I know the brand well, and what I feel coming on here is a 70s style sitcom of new expats in Portugal, and we can sort of recreate all these little vignettes for comedy purposes. I bet there's loads of them.
Oh, there is quite a few, yeah, quite a few. Yeah, there's another one where, well, my wife Teresa, we were living in a flat above another flat, and she was given some instructions for when the postman calls to leave the parcel down below. So she's on her own, and the postman comes, knocks on the door, and she went, embaixo, which she thought was downstairs, leave it downstairs.
Embaixo, it should be.
Embaixo.
I see.
And apparently what she was saying to the postman was, he understood, kiss me.
Beijo. He understood beijo, a kiss.
We went, oh, no, sou casado, I'm married. And she went,
and then she understood cansado, which means tired, right?
Yeah.
Complete confusion.
Too tired to kiss. We do definitely have to make some videos of these, I think, as a teaching aid, I think. That's brilliant, Tony. And just before we go on to a bit more of the Portuguese, you've chosen Central Portugal. Why is that? Of all the beautiful places you could be in Portugal?
Okay, we just wanted to throw ourselves into the true culture of Portugal, and just to I don't know, throw ourselves in the deep end of it, really. Yeah. We didn't know a single word of Portuguese when we came here, so it was quite challenging times. When we first got here, we rented a cottage for the first 6 months, and the little local shop in our village, she was a lovely lady, and she wanted us to ask in the correct Portuguese. So I went in there one particular morning and asked for some eggs. So I've had a quick look in the phrase book before I went. I thought, okay, overs. Right. So I've gone into the shop and I've said, good morning. I want 6 overs. Como? Okay. Ovals. She went, now say. So, okay.
Like you do.
That was the way he got the eggs.
Yeah. And it's like an everyday thing, yeah.
Oh,
well, you better tell them that you're not a student of mine.
Yeah. Filomena is distancing herself from.
Through no fault of
it's not my student, okay?
Through no fault of Filomena, yeah.
It's not my student.
I suppose it was a good job you weren't ordering steak, but I think you've got enough now. You know how to kiss, you know how to get eggs, you know how to get orange juice. So I think it's a flying start.
There's another story of my brother David. He wanted some batteries. So he's asked Sophia what the name is for batteries in Portuguese, and she's told him
Helios.
Helios.
You have to say the l sound.
Helios.
Okay.
So he's gone into the chemist next a couple of doors down, and he's asked for some brand peelers, which is
slightly different. Never mind.
Of course, everyone in the shop is laughing their head off, and he doesn't know what he said.
I'm guessing he's still famous to this day in that chemist's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know how you'd mime that either. That's an interesting one, isn't it? So we could have acting classes as well as language classes, couldn't we? So if you really can't find the word, you know how to improvise and act it out properly.
Well, yeah, the Portuguese are very good with gestures, aren't they? So
yeah, indeed. Yes, that one especially when you don't get it right, Tony. We do have some questions, and I think when Filomena did wince when you said ovos,
because in Portuguese we don't have the sound O, right?
Okay.
We don't have the O. It's not ovos, but it should be ovos. Ovos.
Okay, which leads us to our first question from Xander in Texas. The S sounds as well. So it's really good to know there's no O, like an O sound, or so we wouldn't.
No. Oh.
So you'd be Tony rather than Tony, wouldn't you?
Tony. We have Tony. We say Tony when someone is called Antonio in Portuguese. We can call him Tó, sometimes Tó, or Tony. As a short name.
I like that because we see that in Portuguese generally with names, don't we? Shortening to one syllable is very popular. So
like Zé, for example.
See. Are you known as Na then, or Fi, possibly?
No,
with your name, with Filomena, would you be called Fi or Na?
Oh, with my names, Mena, usually Mena. Although some people also call Philo, but usually it's Mena.
Marvelous. Okay, so this S sound, this S sound,
S sound,
ovos. And I was with my kids, and we had one of our Pingo Dos language lessons at the cafe, because I make my kids, when they want a treat, I get them. They're incentivized to speak Portuguese, aren't they? So if it's the main course, they're not too bothered. But when it comes to the cookie afterwards, I say, well, yeah, you can have that, but you got to go and ask for it for yourself. So there they are, getting the last 2 cookies, and I step in because I can't resist it, and I'm saying, what's Portuguese for both? And turns out it's ambush. Now I don't know whether that's amboss with a S.
No,
ambush.
No. You said it right, ambush, but it's a word that we don't use very often.
Oh, you go to all that effort and then you don't even use it.
No, I mean the word translates as ambush, yes, but instead of saying both, we usually say the 2 of them. So os dois.
That's great to know.
Yeah, 2 of them. But of course, ambush is the correct translation for both. Yes, but it's just that we don't use it very much. I mean, we do use it, but in a more colloquial way, in a more everyday life language, we just say os dois.
And when I see that, so I've got that, I've brought it up on Google Translate. How is there a rule for knowing whether it's a S sound or a sh sound?
Yes, of course there is.
What's the rule?
Well, first of all, you have the S sound when the S is at the beginning of the word, like, for example, sopa, sapato, right?
Sumo.
Yeah.
Sumo. So when the S is at the beginning of the word, the sound is S. And also when we have a double S, like in the word professor, professora, you have a double S, right?
Okay.
So whenever it's the S at the beginning or the double S in the middle of the word, the sound is S. But then all the other S's are not read as S. So, for example, if you have an S between 2 vowels, the sound is, how do you say house?
Or casa, a mesa.
Casa, mesa. Right. So the sound turns into Z, like the Z.
I love this. There is a rule.
There is a rule, yes. So whenever the S comes between 2 vowels, like casa, mesa, then it's Z sound, as if it was a Z, exactly as if it was a Z. Okay, then we still have the sh sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the sh sound comes when the S is at the end of a word. Even if you say oosh, ash, you know, if, for example, if you want to say the houses, and then you say as casas. Okay, it can be quicker, but it's as casas. So the S at the end is pronounced as sh. So you have all the plurals with an S, you know. So for example, I have mentioned sapato or sopa. So you can say sopas, duas sopas, two soups, duas sopas.
Yeah.
So the sh sound at the end. That's why lots of foreigners say when they listen to Portuguese speaking, they listen to quite a lot of because every S at the end is a sh sound, right?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Then there is also another S that is also read as sh, not just at the end, but when it comes between a vowel and a consonant. For example, if you say Espinhal, which is a town near here, right? So if you say ish, or for example, if you want to say United States, you say Estados Unidos. So the ES, Estados, ES, and then the T, it comes a T, so it comes a consonant. A consonant comes after the S. So this S is pronounced as sh. So Estados. And by the way, when it's an ES at the beginning, it's not as like usually the English say Espinhal or you know Estado. No, it's ish. Like actually, if you ask como está, right? You say como está. It's está, not esta, not como está. No, it's not esta, right? It's está, isn't it? Como está?
Pois. Yes. That's absolutely brilliant. An intense tuition there. And I'm sure Xander, I mean, it's great when there is a rule and there aren't too many exceptions to the rule. So that's fantastic. And I think we need
not many exceptions. Now, of course, that I can tell you that, for example, remember the word ovos, right?
Yeah.
Ovos. So if not ovos, ovos. So you say ovos, right? And if you want to say os, ovos, so you have the word the, os, and then you have ovos, right? But you know how the Portuguese are linking everything together, isn't it? So if you link the sound of os and then the sound of ovos, you get an S between two vowels because ovos starts with a vowel, isn't it?
Yes.
So instead of saying os ovos, it's os ovos. Os ovos.
Okay. And I think that would be fairly easy to get into the habit. I like that, you know, whether it's a sandwich of vowels or a. So I was thinking like fantástico, that it would be a vowel and then a consonant.
Fantástico. Yeah, it's the
Brilliant.
sh there, right? But when even when there are two different words like os, ovos, but because we link the sounds, the OS links with the O from ovos, and then it's the S between two vowels. So the sound is the same like a Z. Os ovos, the eggs, os ovos. So
Brilliant. That is
I hope
really
it's not too confusing. It's not too confusing.
No, that's really great. And I think we might segment that out as a little intense language lesson there. That's fantastic. Thank you, Filomena. We have a few comments.
De nada.
Valerie is morning wet and windy on the coast there, the Silver Coast, but the show must go on. So heading out this morning. Be careful out there, Valerie. Oh, she's put a fabulous place in Tabua. So if you haven't found a house already, there's a nice listing in Tabua. It's gorgeous in capital G's. What would be Portuguese for gorgeous?
Well, gorgeous. You can say maravilhoso, fantástico. You can,
Muito linda. Sim.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Questions coming in. We'll come back to that. Penny we can't tell you this, Penny, on air. We'll have to PM you that. I think.
Oh, well, I think I'll text you in private, Carl, later on.
I think that might be best. Now, Gary has his own anecdote as well. First time he put in this comment, he was ordering 2 halal coffees, which I don't think is like we've got 2 jokes out of this now. He was actually ordering galão coffees, not halal coffees, on one of my early visits to Portugal, and the waiter laughed and he said, "I just ordered something that smells bad." What's the word for smells bad that is like galão?
To order 2 galão? Well,
yeah,
first of all, it should be galões, because the plural of galão is galões. But those galão, I don't know. I have to think a little bit.
Cool. It might have just been that particular waiter, of course, there. As well as Xander appreciating, I'm sure in Texas, your description of how to use the S and sh sounds. Wendy is also very grateful here, loving the lesson. Thank you, Filomena. Let's go back. Oh, quick bom dia, tudo bem from Jonathan. And I do, como está. I think British people are used to more familiar with Spanish, so they would think España, wouldn't they, rather than
España? Yeah. But we say España. When we say in Portuguese, we say España.
Okay.
Not es, España.
That's really good. I think that can go in fairly easily. That's the thing, isn't it? Is retaining these things. Can Filomena tell us? Good morning to you, Pete. Another man who had to be collected from the bar yesterday. I mean, I'm not telling tales. He shared that information publicly last night. Obviously, had a great afternoon in Castanera de Pera, trying the local beer, wine, and cheese and chorizo. I think is what he said. So the times of day, we've had recent discussions about when it's okay to say boa noite, where it goes from boa tarde to boa noite. But I think Pete wants to know the actual words for dawn and dusk and evening time. If you can help us with that, Filomena.
Yeah. Well, by the way, and speaking about good morning and good afternoon, because I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday that someone mentioned that, and of course we say. First of all, we say bon dia, right? Bon dia in the morning, and morning, just morning is manhã. We say morning is manhã, but we say bon dia because we don't say good morning, we say good day, right? Bon dia is actually good day.
Yeah.
So we say bon dia till we have lunch. It doesn't depend on time, it depends on lunch, okay? Yes, of course. For a Portuguese, food is always the most important.
Oh, yeah.
So it's bon dia till lunchtime, until our lunchtime, because you can even greet someone with bon dia, and sometimes it happens to me, it happened to you, because sometimes you can be, you can greet someone saying bon dia, like he did, and then the neighbor said,
right, it was gone 12
oh no,
so
you said boa tarde,
boa tarde, because it's gone 12 o'clock. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you went, bon dia. I thought, bon dia. It's halfway through the afternoon.
He hadn't had his lunch yet, so for him it was bon dia.
And that's when you can tell if people are hungry as well, I guess.
Yeah. So bon dia until you have your lunch. Then you start saying boa tarde, and of course to say the afternoon is tarde, right? The afternoon. Well, by the way, starting with dawn is madrugada. It's feminine. Madrugada. The dawn. A madrugada.
Beautiful.
Madrugada. Yeah. So a madrugada. Then we have a manhã, the morning. Then we have a tarde, the afternoon. Of course, we don't have a different, for example, we don't have good evening and good night. We just have boa noite, right? So we just start saying boa noite when it starts to be dark. So it's different times in the winter, in the summer. Just when it's dark, we say boa noite. And so we don't actually have good night opposed to good evening. So it's always boa noite. Even when you go to bed, you say boa noite. In that case, you can say boa noite até amanhã. Até amanhã. See you tomorrow, right? So to distinguish from the good evening. So going back to the parts of the day. Amanhã, so a madrugada, amanhã, a tarde, the afternoon, and then we have a noite. Before the dusk, we have a word for that, to say crepúsculo. O crepúsculo, o crepúsculo is when it's that part of the day, when it's starting to be dark, right?
Yes.
Sunset, and then it starts to crepúsculo. The sound, crepúsculo.
Well, that's yes. There is a very sort of posh English word for relate. Yeah, crepuscular is an English word as well, isn't it? Relate.
Yeah, because it's the you know that there are lots of English words that also come from Latin, right?
Yeah.
So if they come from Latin, they are similar to Portuguese.
Beautiful. So that's not that I remember that. What you said.
And then noite, of course, the noite for evening or night, noite. Yeah.
All right. I will make sure that we have a little cheat sheet of these, the times of day and the greetings thereafter. I think that'll be lovely to share with people in the blog afterwards. So that's really a great question, Peter, and beautifully answered there with those lovely poetic words for dawn and dusk as well. That's really nice. Right.
Okay.
We have Jani in Belgium. Bon dia, todos. There's another thing, todos and todos. We'll come back to that. But Filomena, is the OU in Sul pronounced oo? If that makes any sense.
You read it wonderfully. Congratulations, Carl. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So it's exactly as you said, Carl. O. So the sound is O. Whenever we have an OU together, the sound is O.
Oh,
even if you want to say this or that, it's O. This or that, isto or aquilo.
Okay. I think this is going in, and I really like the way you share things, because you're a natural teacher with how you deliver.
I love teaching.
We can tell for sure, Filomena. Bon dia from Anna Rita Vieira, who joins us quite regularly now. Thank you, Anna, for your regular attendance. Bon dia to you. And yes, this is what we see here, isn't it? Is when someone says bon dia to you, there's almost like a reflex response, and I think it's very important, isn't it, to it's obviously polite, but it's really important, it seems, in Portugal to acknowledge people and come back with the same greeting, right?
Yeah. Bon dia.
Yeah, and I think for so many of us expats, that is a really wonderful part of life, is as you're walking down the street and each person you encounter, you are greeting them.
Bon dia, olá, bon dia.
Olá, bon dia.
Beautiful. And it's so affirming, and it's what a lovely thing to say. A good day to you. It sounds so. It's so
wishing a good day, basically. Yes.
Jani says, I have problems with bon noite because good night, or in Dutch, goede nacht, it means we go to sleep. So people think you're leaving the company. Yeah, and this is the problem, of course, as well, with trying to do literal translations. You have to kind of transcend the culture, don't you? You have to kind of leave behind some of how you structured your life, and then take on board the new cultural sort of thing.
Yes, because not just to do with Dutch, because English, if you say good night, you are also saying goodbye, aren't you? If you say good night, so it's the same. But So in German, Gute Nacht is the same, right? So yeah.
I think once you're over here, Jenny, that will sink in. After you've offended a few people or confused a few people, it really helps with learning anything.
And along the way,
lots of laughs.
Yes.
We are always laughing with these guys.
I came here with a book, How to Learn Portuguese in 3 months.
Sure.
At 13 years old, I'm still learning.
You should get your money back on that one. Bom dia, my dear. A nice wordplay from Sean there. Good morning to you, Sean, over there, Castella Branco way. Another question from Jim. Good morning, Jim. Filomena, if someone has a late breakfast and does not eat again until 1900, would they still greet another person with a bon dia? Technically, yes.
I guess so.
That's a good question. I like that.
That's a good. But have you ever seen any Portuguese that has a late breakfast and then doesn't eat again until 7 o'clock in the evening?
No,
I haven't.
No, that's Jim. Although technically that's correct, that would never happen here. That's just not going to happen.
I have never met such a person.
That's right, and I think Portuguese friends and family just wouldn't allow that, would they?
Probably not. Probably not.
Something would be seriously wrong if that had occurred. That sounds like an American way of life to me, which is best left to America.
Actually, if you compare to French, for example, the French say bonjour all the time. I mean, even if it's in the afternoon, the French keep going on with bonjour, bonjour. So it all depends on each country has its own way of saying the greeting. So bonjour, for example, you can say at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and you can still say bonjour.
Yeah, and this is why you need to immerse yourself in the culture, right? You got to be there, experience it, and see what locals are saying, rather than imagining what you would say and then translating that, or everything from a book. The immersion is the.
But again, bonjour is not good morning. It's a good day, because jour in French is a day, not a morning, right? Like in Portuguese, bom dia is not wishing you good morning, but wishing you good day, a good day in general. So bom dia, you know, in theory, you can say bon dia until 7 o'clock.
It's my opening gambit, you know, when I start the show, hola bon dia, and I love it because there are so many ways to say it. And you know, as I'm walking down the street here, I'll have some quite reserved people who will just say bon dia, and almost like bon dia. And then I'll have an old man who come in, hola bon dia, and it'll be a really big sing-song version of it. I love the many ways of interpreting it.
And they greet you like, yeah, bon dia, right?
Absolutely. Laugh out loud from Jim. That is true. In the 6 years in the Azores, I'd never met any Portuguese person who did not eat lunch, and long may that continue. Yeah, you can keep your al desco eating with your sandwich at your desk. If you come to Portugal, leave that at the border, those terrible habits, and make sure you have a proper lunch every day with soup and coffee. So just finally then, Filomena, tudo, Tudo and TODO. What's happening there?
Tudo and todo.
Todo, sim.
Right? Tudo with a U, tudo, which means everything, tudo. And then the TODO, todo is the whole of it. So, for example, bebe o leite todo. You can say to your child, bebe o leite todo. Drink the whole milk, you know, everything that you got in your cup. And tudo is everything. So, come tudo, eat everything. So, one thing is everything, tudo, everything. And todo is the whole.
Got it.
It's not the same, is it?
Yeah, and you might think of the word all, mightn't you? So all good.
All, yes, yeah, all. Yeah. So for example, if you say o dia todo is the whole day, o dia todo. And again, tudo tudo is always tudo. Everything doesn't change. The word doesn't change. But if you are referring to todo, then you have masculine, feminine, singular, plural. So you have todo, o dia todo, the whole day. A manhã toda, ending with an A, because manhã is feminine, the whole morning, a manhã toda. Then you could say, if you want to say every morning, you can say todas as manhãs, todas as manhãs, so every morning. And if you want to say, for example, every day, you say todos os dias, todos os dias. So the word todo can be todo, toda, todos, todas. Got it?
Obviously. And Tony will now repeat it.
Sorry, we are losing you.
I was just going to say, Tony can repeat all of that just to make sure he's understood it. Okay. Filomena,
Processing.
try, Tony. Another quick one. Filomena, when do you say dona Filomena or simply Filomena? And what is your priority there?
Yeah, well, we say dona. Again, it's the distinction between being formal or informal with someone, right?
Okay.
It depends on the relationship that you have with someone. So if you are close to the person and if you are a friend, usually if you are the same age, you just use the name Filomena in this case. But Dona Filomena or Dona Maria, Dona anything, it's showing a bit more respect. So it's a bit more formal, and it all depends on each perspective, on each one's perspective. So it changes. For example, my son-in-law, he addresses me as Dona Filomena. My son-in-law is part of the family, but is showing some respect for someone older, and so he says Dona Filomena. But it depends on the person, right? But basically, it's showing more respect with Dona, and Filomena is just between friends. He says Filomena. He doesn't say.
How very so a couple more comments. Not confused at all, says Eugene in Ireland. In fact, the wine club last night must be helping me today. I think the wine does help with learning the language. Thank you, that was helpful.
Yeah, it relaxes you, yeah.
It relaxes, doesn't it? I mean, there's an optimum amount, obviously. And when to use dona or a senora. Here we go.
Yeah, well,
Dona. Story.
What story?
Senora.
Oh yeah, well, sonora, yeah. So dona or senora, basically in English you can translate both with Mrs., right? But dona, it's you when you, as I said, when you address someone, and you could say Dona Maria, or you could say Signora, but either you say just a Signora. Imagine that you are speaking to Maria, but you want to be more polite. You can say a Signora está bem, instead of using the name. So usually when we say a Signora, you don't use the name. You just say a Signora, you madam, like when you say you madam, right? A Signora. But Dona is when you want to say the name. So Dona Maria, Dona Isabel, Dona, etc. So with the name, basically with the name, you say Dona. When you don't want to, or when you don't know the name, for example, you say a Signora, you madam.
Wonderful. Okay. Obrigado, Dona. Is that right? Is that right for men then? It would be don or dono.
No, as I told you before, Don is usually nowadays we use it just for kings' names and to refer to someone from the noble the royal family. For example, we have Dom Duarte in Portugal. We have Dom Duarte Pio. He would be the king if we were a monarchy. So we refer to him as Dom Duarte. But apart from that, no, we say Senhor, and the next.
So out of respecting, say muito obrigado, Dona Filomena, e muito obrigado, Senhor Tony.
Sim, exatamente.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All that remains, Filomena, is for you to give us your contact details, because you do one-to-ones, you do classes online. We need to know how to get in touch with you for that.
Yeah. Well, you can find my Facebook page under Filomena Pascoal, or Trips for Brits with a number 4. Trips for Brits. And the email address is also tripsforbrits with a number 4 at gmail.com.
There you go. So Trips for Brits.
Yeah.
Nice, easy way of doing it, isn't it? Yeah. Rod has just turned up after we've done all the hard work learning the Portuguese. But good morning to you. Bom dia. We're expecting a bom dia from you, Rod. Great to see you there. Tudo bem? So, Filomena, thanks as ever. It's been a wonderful Filomena Friday. I hope we can do more of these, even if it's a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or a Thursday.
Yes.
And great to meet you. Muito prazer, Senor Tony.
Thank you for the opportunity to be on your show, Carl.
And I love your T-shirt. And
Rabasal cheese.
Modeling the Rabasal cheese T-shirt there.
Absolutely.
Rabasal.
Filomena organises excellent trips.
I'm sure they're a hoot as well. Filomena, thank you so much. Bom fim de semana.
Obrigada e igualmente bom fim de semana. Até à próxima.
Até a próxima. Must be time for lunch, right?
Almost. Ciao, até à próxima.
And we'll say goodbye to everybody at that point, and we'll see you for tonight's Expat Sport Report, or again on Monday, when we'll be saying Hola, bon dia.